Hi everyone, I'm Holly from Handprinted, and in this video I'm going to talk to you about the difference between water-based and oil-based relief printing inks. Now this is something we get asked all the time because it's one of the main decisions that you need to make if you're starting out relief printing. There are two main types of relief printing ink, oil-based and water-based, and they behave quite differently. Both have great qualities and work really well, but some may have benefits that suit your project more than others. So we sell a lot of different types of ink at Handprinted. We have a collection of water-based inks here, like the Schminker, Lucas and the Speedball. They're all water-based relief printing inks. And then some oil-based relief printing inks. We have the Caligo, Cranfield Caligo Safe Wash, the Cranfield Traditional Relief Ink, and also Hawthorne Stay Open inks. These are all oil-based inks. Now the main difference between water-based and oil-based relief printing inks is the drying time. Water-based inks dry quickly and oil-based inks take a lot longer to dry. This doesn't just mean that your final print will take longer to dry for oil-based inks, but it's about the ink drying on your plate where you've rolled it out, on your roller and on your block before you're printing. If you're using a water-based printing ink, you won't be able to leave your ink rolled out on your plate for a very long time and come back to it. You will also need to take your print pretty quickly after inking up your block. For an oil-based relief printing ink, you have longer before your ink starts to dry on the plate and on the roller, and you also have longer between the time when you roll your ink out on the block and when you need to take your print. And sometimes that extra time can be really helpful. Water-based relief printing inks dry really quickly on the paper as well, which can be a huge benefit because it means that you can print up a load and then they'll be dry later on that day. Oil-based relief printing inks are going to take a couple of days to dry. Sometimes they even take weeks to dry, depending on the conditions, how many layers you've got, how thick your ink is laid down. Oil-based inks tend to have a slightly different finish as well. They can have a bit more of a sheen on them on the final print than water-based inks, which can look a little bit more chalky. The consistency can be different. It'll be different between brands as well and types of ink. So you might get on with one type of water-based ink over another, or one type of oil-based ink over another. The other main difference between water-based inks and oil-based inks is cleanup. So water-based inks, even though they dry quickly, it can be just washed up with water. So you can use a damp cloth to clean your block and your plate and your rollers, and it'll come off really easily. Oil-based inks are a little harder to clean up. They usually take vegetable oil or some solvents to clean up. We also have Zest It, which is here, which is a safer solvent for cleaning up oil-based inks. So there's a little bit more effort put into the cleanup. We do have Caligo Safe Wash Relief Printing inks, and they're a little bit of an exception because they're a modified oil-based relief printing ink. And that means that even though it is oil-based, so it will have longer drying times, you can clean it up with just soap and water. You can use just cold water and some washing up liquid to clean this up. So if you'd like all the benefits of an oil-based ink but without the hassle of cleaning, then Caligo might be the one for you. You can clean up the more traditional oil-based printmaking inks with vegetable oil or Zest It, and that'll work really well.
So I'm doing a quick test print with Caligo and Schminker. The Caligo is oil-based and the Schminker is water-based. I'm going to use the same type of block and the same roller. The Schminker rolls out really nicely and rolls onto the block well. You can see it looks quite wet on the plate, but this is the one that's going to dry a little faster. The prints I'm going to take on some Cardi paper and just hand burnish them with a Baron. The Cardi paper's got a little bit of texture, so we'll get a bit of that on the final print. And then for the oil-based version, I'm using Caligo. You can see straight away that it looks different as it's rolled out. It's more tacky on the roller and on the plate. It rolls beautifully onto the block. And then I'll just take the print in the same way, hand burnish onto Cardi paper. So you can revive your water-based ink by adding a little bit more or even some extender to your ink on the plate. And then you can carry on printing. An oil-based ink won't need this. So my final two prints here, they're both very even. My Caligo is perhaps a touch more even than the water-based version, but they both printed really well. After about 20 minutes, the Schminker was almost completely dry and would only probably take 10 more minutes or so to be completely dry, but the Caligo is going to need at least another day, I think, before it's completely dry, so there's a big difference there. All of these inks and the materials are available at handprinted.co.uk, as well as lots more tutorials and blogs to help you out with all your projects. Happy printing!